We're about to dive into one of history's most unexpected power flips. Today we're exploring Mamluks, Slavic slaves who rose to become the rulers of Egypt. The Slavic Mamluk slaves to the Arab conquest and Islamic expansion were taken from Eastern and Central Europe during the 8th to 16th centuries. As the Islamic caliphates expanded into regions such as the Balkans, Ukraine, and the Caucasus, they captured and enslaved young Slavic Europeans, particularly from regions controlled by the Byzantine Empire in Kiev and Rus. These captives were brought to serve in the Arab-Egyptian army, where they were trained to fight for Islam. Over hundreds of years, these young Slavic boys were so systematically enslaved that their very ethnic identity, Slav, became synonymous with the word slavery itself, a term that endures today in multiple languages. The Abbasid caliphs, 9th century and later the Fatimid and Ayyubid rulers of Egypt, 10th to 12th centuries, institutionalized this system using the young Slavic captives for military service. These boys were forced into elite training programs designed to make them highly skilled warriors. Many were castrated to ensure obedience, while others were raised under strict Islamic military discipline to become professional soldiers known as Mamluks, a term meaning owned or possessed in Arabic. Through generations of rigorous training in the battle doctrines of Islamic warfare, these young Slavs and other foreign captives became so militarily proficient that they eventually seized power for themselves. In 1250, the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt was established after these former slaves overthrew their Ayyubid overlords, marking the rise of the slave sultans at the bottom of the Nile. Meanwhile, in Upper Egypt and Nubia, the indigenous African kingdoms, including the remnants of the Christian kingdom of Makuria, and later the Funj Sultanate of Sennar, 16th century, maintained control over strategic highlands, trade routes and natural resources. These regions, rich in war elephants, cavalry and African military strategies, held firm against incursions from the Mamluks and other northern powers. The Nubians, Ethiopians and other African forces successfully repelled invasions and retained dominance over the Upper Nile trade and resources, historically documented to be the most numerous in battle-mounted war elephants, with the largest tusks and the greatest size African war elephants in human history, and the kings of the most ancient of origins. During this period, medieval African and Islamic maps depicted the world with Ethiopia and the African interior at the top. Recognizing the southern highlands of Africa as the birthplace of mankind, while Europe and the Mediterranean were placed at the bottom. This cartographic tradition reflected the ancient worldview that placed the lands of the Nile, Ethiopia, and the African interior as the true heart of civilization, contrary to later European depictions that would invert this orientation. Here's where it gets really interesting. Despite their European origins, the Mamluks played a crucial role in defending the Islamic world from foreign threats. Their most significant military achievement came in 1260 at the Battle of Ain Jalut, where they defeated the Mongols, marking the first major defeat of the Mongol Empire in open battle. This was one of the earliest recorded instances of gunpowder weapons being used effectively in the Middle East, as Mamluk forces employed hand cannons mid-Fay to disrupt Mongol cavalry formations at the Battle of Ain Jalut. Hold on to your turbans. Mansa Musa, the legendary Malian emperor, played a critical but indirect role in the decline of the Mamluks. When he embarked on his famous Hajj to Mecca in 1324, he distributed so much gold in Cairo that he devalued the Egyptian economy. This economic shock weakened Mamluk financial stability, making Egypt more vulnerable to internal strife and later Ottoman conquest. Mansa Musa was fully aware of Egypt's plots to humiliate him, as Mamluk authorities sought to force him to bow before the Sultan. However, his wealth humbled the Mamluks instead, making their economic structure unstable, a contributing factor in their eventual fall. By 1517, the Ottoman Turks had defeated the Mamluks, forcing many of them to flee southward. Seeking refuge in the Sahel, they encountered African kingdoms such as Kanem-Bornu, the Funj Sultanate, and the Sultanate of Darfur. However, instead of finding allies, they became captives, absorbed into the military systems of their African conquerors or sold as slaves. The Funj Sultanate defeated groups of Mamluk warriors who had fled south, enslaving them or conscripting them into local forces. The Sultanate of Darfur also captured Mamluks in battle, integrating them into their ranks or selling them into slavery. Kanem-Bornu, with its long-standing control over trans-Saharan trade, played a crucial role in the dispersal of Mamluk captives, ensuring that their power was never restored. By the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire absorbed Egypt, officially ending Mamluk rule, although they continued to exert influence as local governors and military leaders under Ottoman rule. Over time, the Mamluks intermarried with Ottoman Turks and Middle Eastern elites, blending Slavic, Turkic and Circassian lineages into the ruling class of Egypt. The incredible journey of the Slavic Mamluks from enslaved boys to powerful sultans teaches us that history is never as simple as we think, and power can change hands in the most unexpected ways.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.